you may want to get comfortable. Maybe dim the lighting, or if you have fairy lights, that might be nice. Or you might want to turn the lights off completely. You might want to sit on the sofa with a blanket around you, or you could get into bed. It really is up to you, but I do hope you're comfortable. This is for those of you who, like me, are awake when it feels like the whole world is asleep. You can sometimes feel very alone, night after night, waiting for sleep to come. Instead, I started following lots of people around the world on Twitter, so I would have more people to interact with in the middle of the night. Believe it or not, Twitter can be the place for a friendly conversation. I made friends with some lepidopterists, specifically those that like moths. They tend to be a little more nocturnal. They can be a bit technical with their information, but they're a friendly bunch. Can you imagine what it must have been like to have insomnia before the internet? One night, I came across a thread from an ecologist who was heading up a research project in Costa Rica or Ecuador. His research involved rearing caterpillars, waiting for them to pupate, then identifying, categorizing, and studying the adult moths. This process necessitates the deaths of the moths, but that is a small price to pay for a much greater understanding. His project relied on paying volunteers, those looking for a holiday with a difference, the well-to-do and the well-meaning. He recalled one of those volunteers, a woman in her 80s who had recently had major surgery. Despite her immobility, she was determined to attend and help. A role was found for her in the caterpillar rearing sheds. She was attentive, hard-working, and insisted on everyone calling her abuela. She was a surrogate granny to all. The project appeared to be doing well. The caterpillars appeared to be doing well. They were healthy and numerous. The chrysalids were tracked, noted, and appeared to be doing well. So the project leader couldn't understand why the caterpillar and chrysalid numbers didn't translate to a similar number of adult moths. Temperature, ventilation, and humidity were checked. All was well. Vegetation and food sources were checked, and all was well. They checked for predators and bacteria. Everything was clean. The ecologist examined the empty chrysalids to see that the moths had emerged. They had, and in good numbers. There was no reason for the project to fail, but failing it was. Abuela consoled the ecologist. She was an enormous comfort to him. There is something about the company of older people that is calming. They have seen and experienced so much already, haven't they? He asked her if she had noticed anything odd in the behaviour of the moths that might point to hitherto unknown parasites. She had not. Had she noticed anything strange in the shed during her lengthy days tending to the caterpillars and the plants they fed on? She had not. Had she seen any remains of the stricken moths? She had not. It was a mystery. He was also worried about Abuela. He was worried that she might feel that she had inadvertently caused this problem. Neither did he want her to know that funding was close to being pulled by his university due to the lack of results. He was going to have to send everyone home. He set up hidden cameras in the sheds, day and night vision, linked them to his laptop, and waited. He was overjoyed as the moths emerged from their chrysalids. He waited, expecting to see maybe a bird or bat hoovering up every single precious moth. He would then know how to fight back. Nothing. He had waited up all night. The moths had emerged, They had dried their wings, and now the sun was rising. Perhaps there was nothing after all. Maybe his streak of mysterious bad luck had finally ceased. And here was Abuela in the shed, so dedicated. She was up before dawn and ready to work. He was tired. He would just watch her and then maybe have 40 winks before joining her to share in the joy of all those new moths. And then he saw her, Abuela, opening the shed screens that kept the caterpillars and moths safely imprisoned. Not only opening the screens, she was shooing the moths out of the sheds. Abuela, scooping up moths and tenderly carrying them out into the forest. Frail little post-operative Abuela, climbing amongst plants, reaching up to high windows, making sure every single moth made it safely out into the world. Abuela! Here are some facts about moths. It takes roughly 2,000 cocoons to make a silk dress. Ahimsa silk is a way of processing the cocoon after the moth has emerged, and no caterpillars need to die so we can be clothed. Some moths don't have mouths. Most of their life cycle is spent as a caterpillar, and they only pupate and emerge in order to reproduce. For these moths, their sole purpose as a winged creature is to reproduce, and so there is no need to eat. There are approximately 160,000 species of moth in the world. Moths are much older than butterflies. They're thought to be around 200 million years old. There is a species of moth that is amphibious. The water milfoil moth can live in water or on dry land. When in the water, it sucks in oxygen through its skin. Some moths make sounds. Most use them to jam the sonar of bats, but others are audible to human ears.